Brothers and sisters of Africa, listen to me well this night. I do not come to speak in whispers. I come to thunder against the great betrayal we witness in South Africa. Watch this video until the very end. If you love me, you will come to know the truth. The man who occupies the highest office while his people drown in their despair, Cyril Ramaphosa. Yes, I will speak his name. I will not fear it, for silence in the face of treachery is complicity. And I, Ibrahim Trou, will never be complicit in the destruction of Africa by her own sons who choose to serve foreign masters instead of their own people. Ramaphosa has become a living symbol of what happens when a liberation movement loses its very soul. When the promises of freedom are traded for contracts with foreign corporations. When the spirit of Mandela, of Biko, of Chris Hani is sold for mere silver coins. The ANC, once a beacon of African struggle, now crawls on its knees like a beggar, and Ramaphosa is the face of this shame. Look at South Africa today. Do you see prosperity? Do you see liberation? No. You see the collapse of power, of jobs, of dignity. The youth, black youth, the very children for whom blood was spilled in Soweto, now wander the streets unemployed, forgotten, disrespected. And meanwhile, Ramaphosa smiles before cameras in Europe, shaking hands with the men who continue to exploit Africa's minerals, her land, her people. Is this the freedom for which South Africa fought? Is this the destiny of the great ANC? No, this is betrayal of the highest order. Ramaphosa, you sit in office as if you are the chief executive of a Western company, not the leader of a proud African nation. You have reduced the ANC into a corporation of corruption, a marketplace where power is bought and sold. Eskom collapses, the lights go out, and South Africans live in darkness while you enrich yourself. Millions are without work, without hope, yet you boast of billions made in your private ventures. How do you sleep at night knowing your people are hungry? How do you wear that smile knowing mothers are burying their sons because of crime, because of poverty, because of joblessness? Do not speak to me of reconciliation when justice has never arrived. Do not speak of progress when the townships are rotting. Do not speak of democracy when corruption strangles your institutions. You are a businessman first, Ramaphosa, and that is your curse. You treat South Africa as your farm, the ANC as your company, and the people as cheap labor. You have forgotten the struggle. You have forgotten that freedom is not for sale. I say this with fire in my chest. The ANC under Ramaphosa is dead. It is a walking corpse. Once it was a sword against apartheid. Now it is a spoon feeding foreign interests. Once it was the voice of the oppressed. Now it is the language of the oppressor. South Africa deserved a revolution of minds and of economy. But Ramaphosa gave them trickery, speeches, and empty promises. He stands not as a liberator, but as a gatekeeper for imperialism. You tell the world you are building a rainbow nation. But what rainbow is this where black South Africans still suffer in the mines like slaves? Where their land remains stolen? Where their dignity is trampled? What rainbow is this where the white minority still holds the keys to the economy while the black majority remains chained to poverty? Do you not see, Ramaphosa, that you are nothing but the smiling mask that covers the ugly face of neocolonialism? South Africa should have been the economic engine of Africa. It should have stood tall and lifted this continent with its wealth. But under you, Ramaphosa, it crumbles. It sinks. Foreigners take your gold, your diamonds, your platinum, your land. While you beg them for investment, do you not feel the shame? Instead of building Africa's pride, you bow to the West. You beg for loans. You kneel for approval. And to the youth of South Africa, I say, do not be fooled by this man's speeches. He is not your father. He is your betrayer. Rise up. Question. Reject this leadership that sees you as expendable. Ramaphosa fears the fire of young Africans who refuse to accept crumbs. That is why he feeds you slogans while he fills the pockets of his friends. That is why the ANC clings to power through fear, through division, and through corruption. They fear the day you will say, enough. Ramaphosa, you listen to me now. Africa has no more patience for weak leaders. We do not need servants of the West. We do not need smiling faces that hide corruption. We do not need cowards who bow when they should stand. You are a coward. Yes, I have said it. A coward who feared the true revolution, who feared upsetting the white masters, who feared reclaiming the land and the economy for your people. Instead, you chose comfort. You chose compromise. You chose betrayal. When the history of Africa is written, you will not stand among the giants. You will not be remembered as a liberator. You will be remembered as the man who inherited the struggle and squandered it. A man who carried the torch of freedom only to extinguish it for profit. A man who chose to serve capital instead of justice. Do you not feel the shame, Ramaphosa, when you walk in the footsteps of Mandela but drag the chains of corruption behind you? Do you not hear the voices of the martyrs crying out against your betrayal? Chris Hani, who died for the people, would he recognize this ANC of yours? Biko, who spoke of black consciousness, would he not spit upon the cowardice of your leadership? The ancestors are watching, and their judgment will be harsh. I say to you, step aside if you cannot lead with courage. Step aside if you cannot serve your people. Step aside if your heart beats only for money and for foreign praise. Africa has no time left for men like you. Africa is rising, Ramaphosa, with or without you. And when we rise, we will not rise with cowards. We will rise with lions. Let the people hear me well. It is time to tear down the false gods of politics. It is time to expose the hypocrites who wear the clothes of revolution but live as kings while their people starve. Ramaphosa has exposed himself as such a man, and the ANC under him has become nothing but a relic of betrayal. The youth must not be afraid. The workers must not be silent. The poor must not be patient. Enough waiting. Enough hoping. Enough begging. Stand up and claim what is yours. Demand leaders who fear no one but God, who serve no one but the people, who bow to no flag but the flag of Africa. I will not sugarcoat it. Ramaphosa, you are a disgrace. You are proof that liberation without economic freedom is nothing. You are proof that when leaders forget their people, the nation dies. But South Africa will not die. Africa will not die. The people will rise. The youth will lead. And they will sweep away the corruption, the cowardice, and the betrayal. Mark my words, the fire that started in Burkina Faso will spread. The fire of resistance. The fire of true independence. The fire of African pride. And when it reaches South Africa, no Ramaphosa, no failing ANC, no foreign master will be able to extinguish it. This is not a warning. This is a prophecy. Africa is awake, and those who betray her will face the wrath of her children. Ramaphosa, your time of pretending is ending. Your mask is falling, and when it does, the whole world will see the coward you truly are. Africa is done with cowards. Africa demands lions. Africa demands leaders who will die before they betray. Brothers and sisters, let me begin by telling you this truth. Betrayal does not come from your enemy. Betrayal comes from the one who stands beside you, the one who carries your hopes, the one who promises to fight for you but then sells you in the marketplace of the oppressor. And that, my people, is exactly what Cyril Ramaphosa has done. He inherited the torch of the liberation struggle, but instead of carrying it forward to the finish line of freedom, he used it to light the cigars of foreign corporations. He betrayed the struggle. He betrayed his people. And he betrayed Africa. What was the liberation struggle in South Africa? It was not simply about ending apartheid in law. No, it was about breaking the chains of economic slavery. It was about restoring land to its rightful owners. It was about giving the black child dignity. It was about ensuring that those who suffered under apartheid would rise and live free, not just politically, but economically. Freedom was not meant to be a flag in the sky and hunger in the stomach. Freedom was not meant to be a national anthem sung in darkness because Eskom has collapsed. Freedom was supposed to be the reclaiming of power, of wealth, and of dignity. But Ramaphosa chose another path. He chose the path of cowardice, the path of comfort, the path of selling his people's inheritance to foreign masters. Do you know why? Because he was never a revolutionary at heart. He was always a businessman. And what does a businessman see? Profit, not justice. Contracts, not liberation. Shareholders, not citizens. The ANC under him became less a liberation movement and more a corporation serving foreign shareholders. Look at the mines. Look at the gold, the platinum, the diamonds. Who controls them today? Is it the black South African people who bled and died in Marikana, who sacrificed in Soweto, who buried their children during apartheid? No, it is still the foreign companies. The same structures of exploitation, dressed in modern suits. And Ramaphosa, instead of taking back control, stands at their service. He protects their interests. He ensures their profits. He tells them, Do not fear. I am your man. This is betrayal. Do you remember Marikana? Do you remember the massacre where workers demanding fair wages were gunned down like animals? Where was Ramaphosa then? He was on the side of the corporations, not the workers. He was in the boardrooms, not the mines. He was with the bosses, not the people. That moment revealed his true heart. A man who would rather protect profit than protect lives. A man who has chosen the side of the oppressor while wearing the clothes of the liberator. And tell me, what happened to land reform? What happened to the promise that land would be returned to the dispossessed? He speaks of it in vague terms. He delays. He commissions reports. He promises, but he never delivers. Because to deliver land would mean confronting those who still hold it, those who finance his campaigns, those whose approval he craves from the West. Ramaphosa will not confront them. He bows to them. He negotiates with them. He begs them. He serves them. This is not leadership. This is servitude. And what of the ANC itself? The ANC that once carried the dreams of Africa's oppressed is now nothing but a mask. It wears the clothes of revolution, but its heart is owned by corporations. It sings the songs of freedom while signing contracts of betrayal. And at the head of this hypocrisy sits Ramaphosa, the smiling betrayer. He attends global forums to boast of South Africa's open economy. But that open economy means open looting, open exploitation, open robbery of the people's resources. Do not be deceived, my people. Ramaphosa is not building a South Africa for South Africans. He is building a South Africa for investors. He is building a playground for Western companies who come to dig, to mine, to exploit, and to leave nothing behind but poisoned soil and broken communities. This is not the dream of Mandela. This is not the struggle of Biko. This is not the sacrifice of Chris Hani. This is betrayal. And betrayal has a price. The price is unemployment. The price is poverty. The price is youth wandering hopelessly in the streets. The price is crime that devours communities. The price is a nation that bleeds while its leader smiles in foreign capitals. Ramaphosa, you were meant to finish the fight. You were meant to break the chains. You were meant to carry the liberation struggle to its true conclusion, African ownership of African resources. But instead, you sold the soul of the ANC and turned South Africa into a playground for the very powers the struggle fought to overthrow. You were not the heir of the struggle. You are its gravedigger. And I tell the people, never forgive betrayal. Never accept it. The struggle is not over. It has only been hijacked. The youth must reclaim it. The workers must reclaim it. The poor must reclaim it. Because the liberation struggle belongs to the people, not to Ramaphosa, not to the ANC, and certainly not to the corporations. Let me tell you what I see when I look at the ANC under Ramaphosa. I see a corpse. Yes, a corpse. There was a time when the ANC was alive, filled with the blood of revolution, the fire of sacrifice, the heartbeat of millions who dared to dream of freedom. But today, under Ramaphosa, it is no longer a movement. It is a rotting carcass. It still wears the clothes of struggle. It still sings the songs of liberation. But inside there is nothing but decay, corruption, division, and death. When you touch a corpse, it is cold. That is the ANC now. Cold to the cries of the poor. Cold to the hunger of the people. Cold to the pain of the youth. Once it was the spear of the nation. Now it is a dull knife rusting in the hands of greedy men. Once it struck fear into oppressors. Now it strikes only deals in backrooms. Once it stood for the liberation of the African child. Now it stands for the enrichment of its leaders. Look at the youth of South Africa. What do they inherit from this ANC? Not jobs, not dignity, not hope. They inherit unemployment, drugs, crime, and despair. They are the children of freedom, but they live in chains of poverty. And while the youth wander jobless, the leaders of the ANC drive expensive cars, wear designer suits, and dine at the tables of foreign ambassadors. Is this not betrayal? Is this not decay? Look at the poor. What does the ANC give them? Empty promises. Every election, they are told the same lies. We will deliver jobs. We will deliver housing. We will deliver land. But the poor remain in shacks. The poor still drink dirty water. The poor still wait for electricity that never comes. And while the poor suffer, ANC officials grow rich from corruption tenders, from stolen state funds, from deals that fatten their pockets while the people starve. And look at the nation itself. South Africa, a country so rich in resources, so blessed with potential, is today in darkness. Eskom collapses. The lights go off. Businesses fail. Hospitals struggle. Children cannot study. Do you understand the symbolism? A liberation movement that once brought light to its people now leaves them in darkness. Literal darkness. That is the truth of the ANC under Ramaphosa. And do not tell me this is an accident. It is not an accident. It is the product of corruption, mismanagement, and cowardice. When leaders fight not for the people, but for positions. When they care not for the nation, but for their faction. When they divide among themselves while the people suffer. That is not leadership. That is rot. And the ANC is rotting from the inside out. Ramaphosa pretends to be the man who will clean the ANC. But how can a man who is part of the rot clean the rot? How can a man who benefits from corruption fight corruption? How can a man who climbs to power on the back of corporate money stand for the people? It is impossible. He speaks of renewal, but renewal cannot come from a corpse. Renewal requires life. And there is no life left in the ANC.